Testing audio. Any audio coming through on mic? Testing audio. Okay, that's a bit of a delay. A little bit. Okay. Just getting things set up quick. Howdy. Just making sure mic's coming through good. But for those that are joining, welcome. I'm going to be talking about Canon Rapid Fire a bit because we've seen it blow up a bit at the high end of the DPS table, and there's a very good reason for that. But before I get into that, I want to mention what they've done over with the re-engineering system on Tribble. They have made some changes that they have not yet announced. One of the critical things is that they have removed the option for you to get modifiers at the epic level such as Crit D2. As you can see there, the new potential powers listed are basically you can get none of the same two. You have to choose a mix of some sort. So that means that with the removal of Crit D2, the Crit D/damage option is the best choice for an epic modifier. I am on Tribble right now. The update will be live on Holodeck on Tuesday. I've actually got Holodeck and Tribble open. Bugs out when I'm messing around with the window there. Just to repeat, they removed the Crit D2 option, Act 2, Crit H2, all gone. The other stuff is still the same though. For the weapons that I did have the Crit D2 on, they locked that mod. Right one here. So they've removed it for good, it looks like. They didn't announce it either as far as I could see, so I'm not sure what all's going on there, but there were people complaining that the Crit D2 would be too much power creep, so they probably caved into that. I think some people were saying you could go and upgrade some of this rep gear. I think I saw some pictures, but it looks like they also removed that capability with whatever the patch was on Friday. I'm gonna close out of this. I just wanted to mention that quickly. Nothing new in the store or anything terrible. Okay, let's get to what I want. So, just to verify, everyone can hear me fine in chat. Yeah, Tribble. Now I'm back on Holodeck. I just wanted to go over to Tribble just to show that they changed those epic modifiers and how they work. Okay, good. Yeah, there's a bit of a delay on the chat, so I was about to type it in there, but you guys said perfect. Okay, so I posted in my Scimitar rapid fire build a month or so back on Reddit, and I was using that for quite some time, but I ended up messing around with a few different ships. Omega and I were messing around with the Miradorn, and then we realized the Husnock, the ship that came out alongside the Miradorn in the same lockbox, is a perfect fit for what we need with these rapid fire builds. Hello, Kazumi. Um, and the reason for that is because of all the rapid fire traits. So, the Husnock gives the directed energy flux trait. This is a very powerful trait for rapid fire builds, but the issue is that you have to be on a ship that has directed energy modulation, which any ship with engineering can do, or a temporal operative bridge officer station. So, directed energy modulation is not up enough to keep a 15-second buff up 100% of the time, but if you have a temporal seat on a ship, you can use a low level ability like entropic redistribution or causal reversion to keep it up 100% of the time. Yes, they removed the ability to salvage the free heavy weapons and stuff. Um, but the reason we went over back to the Husnock here is because you have a temporal seat to spam that trait. It's a 5-3 with some good consoles that you can. The reason I'm doing this as a stream also is because I just recorded this and I spent 20 minutes doing it, and I realized it'd probably just be better to do it as a live stream where people can ask me questions. Um, with these rapid fire builds, the Terran DHC is of course going to be the best single dual heavy cannon you can get, but like we were running around, I've got crit D3 pens on right now. I did crit D4s, damage 3 pens. There's no difference, almost nothing. You're talking less than a percent. So with these DHCs, you go with whatever looks best to you visually, and with the re-engineering system, you're going to be able to make them all go to perfect mods here very cheap on Tuesday. Um, but I went crit D3 pen for now on my Romulan because I'm right around 55 to 60% crit chance in combat. So I've got enough crit chance to take advantage of that crit severity. Then running the colony deflector, of course. That's pretty standard. This is the fourth one on the list if you go there. Because it's got the shield pen and armor pen. Or not the armor pen, the crit chance. And then I'm running the competitive 3-piece because it gives you some nice resistance if you're being shot at. Bonus resistance. And the speed buff is nice. And if the shield proc goes off, that means your DPRM is healing a little bit more. Then the turrets are just same as the DHCs. You go with whatever visuals you like. Damage, crit D, doesn't matter what mods. The difference between like damage 4 and damage 3 pen is under a percent now, so it doesn't matter if you go after pen. Something I had to explain to some people on Reddit was why I was running the heavy biomole alongside this multi-conduit energy relay. And the reason for that is because this 2-piece is a 7.5% Cat 2, which means that 7.5% Cat 2 is going to do more than a 37.5% Cat 1. So I take this 2-piece and attack console off. My weapons are DHC sitting at 2138. Put attack console back on. 2267. First 2321. So the multi conduit As you can see, between that having a damage buff of its own and being a Cat 2 piece, it's better than attack console. That's why that's on. Does anyone have any questions about these rapid fire builds? I'm just going to be spitting out random information otherwise. One of the other reasons I went with the Husnock is the console set. So the Husnock console is going to be fixed here soon to do more damage. Currently it's bugged and not doing the full damage it's supposed to. They're fixing that Tuesday. That has a 12% Cat 1 buff on it. For energy damage, not much. But the really notable console here is the Miradorn one. 1.5 crit chance and 10 defense are the passives, but look at that clicky. For 20 seconds, you get 15% crit chance, 33 severity, and the other notable thing is Raider and Intel flanking damage bonus is increased by 33%. And if you run this 2-piece, it reduces the cooldown of the consoles, it buffs the damage the heavy particle focuser ray does, and then it's 2.5 armor pen. How much damage do I have with rapid fire on? Okay, so that's what's making these rapid fire builds so noticeable right now, is because there's all these traits for it. Go for the kill to extend the duration, preferential targeting from the NX to give it a nice Cat 1 damage buff when you hit fire at will or scatter volley. And then that directed energy flux to give a nice Cat 2 buff, hitting temporal abilities or directed energy modulation. So you stack those all up, and the reason these rapid fire builds are so good is because you're talking about doing like 200k DPS to a single target versus doing 200k with an AoE setup. Now, when you're going up against bosses and stuff, doing 200k versus just the boss, you're going to clear them out much faster than you are with an AoE setup. Running these rapid fire builds, they do so much damage that it actually hurts. It's painful to even go back to scatter volley because you're doing so much less damage. Rapid fire, you just go, you find the big targets, and you just pound on them. These rapid fire builds, Peter, if it helps you see how powerful they are, they hold the top spots in Hive Space Elite right now, which is right around 170 to 180k. In ISA, I have a link in the description here to a run I did, which was 215,000 DPS on the Scimitar build I was doing. Yeah, Hugo, that's the thing with these rapid fire builds, is there's two traits that I would consider core that you have to have for these builds to make them effective. And that go for the kill is one of them. Meaning you need a 1.5 billion EC trait to make these builds competitive. If you don't have go for the kill, you lose a large portion of your potential rapid fire damage, a third of it. You're just tossing that away. You don't need a 5-3 layout. I was doing this last night even on 4-3 and 4-2 ships. I did a rapid fire build last night on the Jem'Hadar Dreadnought. That was, I mean, it wasn't the best run ever, but it parsed 150, 160k. With rapid fire on the Gem Dread. 5-3, having 5-4 weapons is going to help, but it's not like it's a deal breaker. When we're talking about this game, there's no content in the game that actually requires us to be doing this much damage, so you can certainly do this on other ships like a 4-2, 4-3. I was just in the Morgu even before. I was just going around trying it in a bunch of different ships. Hugo, Cold-Hearted. I am using Cold Hearted for good because it is a constant uptime on attack pattern beta 3, basically. Or constantly up attack pattern beta 3, I should say. That's minus 50 debuff towards whatever I'm shooting. And it counts as a control ability, meaning I can run the controlled countermeasures reputation trait and get that 7% cat 2 damage buff. Good note too, I'm going to be posting this build to Reddit in a bit if anyone wants to just read the full build. There's certainly going to be some changes I'll be making here next week also. I believe there might be some potential with some of these consoles. We just need to see the stats on the consoles first to know for sure. I'm really interested in that anniversary ship console though. Something I think I explained this on the Scimitar build, but I'll mention this again. This weapon sensor enhancer console. This is a low buy console. We refer to it as the nickname for it is the AC console. So it gives plus 40 accuracy rating, which is very good in PvP. It means in PvP you can run with no AC mods on your weapons if you run it alongside having AC in the skill tree and the superior accurate trait. Get away from needing to run accuracy on your weapons. Many of us have been doing that now for a little bit. But in PvE, that means it's giving you accuracy overflow for rapid fire, scatter volley, anything that isn't fire at will, basically. It's medley, cannon, rapid fire is what CRF stands for. It's just a very expensive thing to get into because you have very expensive traits to run it. Go for the kill and preferential targeting are the ones that I would say are the two core traits. Doomsday, what arc is that in? What arc that is in Hugo? I have a testing map I was messing with also that I set up in the Foundry. It's one I set up a year or so back. It's Borg Infestation. Normal Klingon War. Yeah, then I probably don't have that Hugo. Um, don't move. Do they have a ton of damage on them or a ton of HP? Is it rated in the start of the mission, Hugo? Hugo, if you team up with me in game and share the mission, I can get into it on my Romulan. Back to the build because I got distracted. Um, this specific build. As I said, I'll post this build on Reddit later just to go over six, but it's an Oxtabat setup, 3 technicians, emergency con hologram for the speed buff with immersive powered engines, agent Nerol for the heal for each shot out while attack pattern beta's up, and then an energy weapon officer for the stacking crit severity fire energy weapons. Offs. The reason for the Husnock, other than the consoles, is it is 5-3, but the Bridge Officer seating, it has a temporal seat, meaning you can keep constant uptime on the trait it has, directed energy flux, which is 25% Cat 2. So I just use entropic redistribution, which gives me like 1 to 2k DPS, but I might swap that out for causal reversion on Tuesday when that fix goes in that lets it trigger this trait. One of the other nice benefits is because it has a commander temporal seat, I'm running recursive shearing 3, which for those that don't know what recursive shearing is, it does a lot of damage based on how much damage you do to a target in 5 seconds. So if I'm in Hive Space Elite and we've got 5 of us pounding one of the Borg, you make Borg pickles, whatever they're called. I had a hit last week, I want to say, of about 1.3 million off of recursive. So depending on the run, recursive itself might do 8 to 20k DPS depending on how large the recursive is and if you have other people in the run using recursive, because you cannot have multiple people use recursive on a target at the same time. The rest of the Bridge Officer layout I think is pretty self-explanatory. If you just look at it, it's common. The fire at will to trigger the preferential targeting trait. Hit him or pop. Yes, thank you, Zero. Let me show y'all one of my favorite things to do with these builds. Pop the transformers while the generators are still up. Okay, I'll message you after this, Kittimer and Hugo. Oh no. There's the glass cannon. And not paying attention to my HP. Oh no, it's just a bugged run. I don't think this stuff's healing. Got that side. Yeah, this is a bugged run. Generators are just not being killed. The gate's not being killed. See that nice recursive hit there, 440k. Wow. Gotta pay attention. Going up to warp core breach. 10 of these ships in CCA wouldn't do much because the entity just ignores the energy damage. These guys got that. What's interesting is 10 of these in somewhere like Hive Space Elite. Bad timing on recursive. That was a bad run to show off. Okay, Hugo, I'm gonna head to Dania system. Just watch, Hugo, I'm gonna die from bird of praise that do no damage. Just no. Big Mace, Recursive Shearing is a temporal bridge officer ability, so you have to have a ship that can use temporal bridge officer abilities at the lieutenant commander or commander level. The CRF trait, Big Mace, go for the kill that gives it the 100% uptime, is from the Jem'Hadar attack ship tier 6, yes. Hugo, you'll have to share the mission if it lets you. I type that because it's but without the go for the kill trait, you're losing a large portion of your damage potential with rapid fire. So I would say without that trait, it's not worth investing in the rapid fire build, which is really sad because I will say because of this trait being a promo ship and not being account wide unlock for paying, that much for a ship, I have characters that I am not actively working on right now because these rapid fire builds have so much potential and the cost is so absurdly high. Crud, did it just put me in control instead? Mission. Hold on, Hugo, I just gotta find the correct entry point. I wasn't paying attention. Mass recursive shearing is pretty powerful in the right conditions. Donnie assist. only giving me this option. Take me to the starting point. Show me that I'm in the wrong place. Um, it's not letting me directly into that mission. It just gives me Patrol Donia system. It keeps circling me around. Um, I believe that the promo ship traits should be account wide for the costs. I mean, you're talking these ships are worth $200 to $300 per, and you can only get them on one character. I mean, at least the trait, make it account wide. This ship has a turn rate. All good, Hugo. The issue with these is that if you take them into advanced queues, they're actually way too overkill. Um, they will knock out the big targets way too fast. And I have a video I'm going to show just to. So, this is me and Omega, a fleet mate of mine, and we are going up against the gateway here in Infected in a pug run. And just the two of us in 20 seconds were able to kill the gate, with it being killed by both transformers. You see it bouncing back up, so it is being healed. Sorry for the video. I like crash for this recording. But we killed it in 20 seconds. So we started at right around 39, just buffing up. And the gate, while being healed up by both sides, is dead at 59. So you see that there is a lot of power creep there. It is far too overkill for just for elite. Greasy, are you using rapid fire only? So for the preferential targeting trait, you don't actually need to use scatter volley. It's scatter volley or fire at will. So I'm using fire at will to trigger it. So I have fire at will to trigger preferential targeting, and then I have entropic redistribution and recursive to trigger the directed energy flux trait. Now, also, if you don't have directed energy flux and you're on a Romulan ship and you want more power, can use supremacy, because supremacy doesn't require that the shots coming out from your ship are actually by fire at will or scatter volley. You just need to hit fire at will or scatter volley and have any shot go out. Big Mace build for beams and torps. I would say look at like Rev's scimitar build on Reddit. I'll give you the link. On Reddit, just show me the post. Okay, take a look at that, Big Mace. That'd be a build that would give you a good example. Just linked it in chat. I don't know. Has anyone got any questions about these rapid fire builds? Okay. Thank you for trying to share that mission. Puts me up at Soul. So what I'm gonna go into next is just gonna screw around with some Q. I'm gonna go into Tholian Red Alert next and just nuke the bosses. But you're gonna see the downside to this build when I go into Tholian Red Alert. That game sound. The game sound loud to you guys? That was a bit loud to me. I don't usually play this game with sound at all. I don't even do PvP with sound. But the issue with these rapid fire builds is when you go into an environment like Tholian Red Alert or ISA where there's lots of small mobs that you need to kill, um, it's just you run into issues clearing out those small mobs. These builds are very good for elite content, and it's just that when we get into this advanced content, you see where the downside is. Connor, the colony weapons were heavily nerfed and will not be worth running. They just completely neutered the proc. So basically, you use whatever weapons that look best to you. That you can stack as many sets behind as possible to buff them up. Okay, so I'm gonna go right towards this boss. What boss? So you can see it's good for clearing out bosses, but now I gotta deal with all these small mobs, and I'm only doing one target. There's the downside. The web node. There's the downside. Go after these big targets over here. But I am very obviously on the glass cannon here, so. You guys saw though how fast those bosses died. That's the thing with these. They clear out those so fast, but these other mobs, they're so slow. That's the trade-off. That's why if you're going into ISA with one of these, you want to be running with someone that's doing high DPS with a Thaw build, so they can clear out the trash for you. Which is another reason some people hate these builds, is because it means that Thaw builds are turned into support builds in rapid fire rounds. Hi, Sezatar. I'm probably mispronouncing your name. Okay, what marks any? Like random. I'll give that a go. See if I can get into that, Hugo. You said the Zyber. In core assault, it would melt any single target fast, but the issue is with the AoE stuff. That's the downside of these is the AoE. You have to have teammates that understand that you're going to take out the big targets and they'll figure out the AoE stuff. Target dummy. I'm on elite. Missed you. Oh crap. I see Hugo. I don't have this build on Klingon because the trade is too expensive and Cryptic doesn't want to seem to give us them account wide. Yeah, I've got a nice bit of assets, and even for me, it's I can't afford to run this ship on multiple characters, like the strike ship. I can't afford to buy a promo ship on every character I want to do one of these builds on. And the thing is these rapid fire builds, just running it on SOB, it has spoiled me for like running scatter volley because you might be able to do say 200k DPS with scatter volley, but you go in with a rapid fire build and you're doing 200k with a single target. It's absurd. Still do this. Here you go. Just I don't think I've ever done this before. Oh, feedback. There's another thing. Feedback will insta kill you. You should see what happens in Elite. Oh, feedback. I hate feedback so much. They didn't nerf it enough. How much HP has this got? Mil. Damn feedback. It ruins my immersion. On, activate your feedback. You know you wanna. There it goes. I just don't shoot it for 15 seconds. Did I ever say I hate feedback? I need to get good. That thing had like 1,000,000 HP too, didn't it? It was flashed up there too long. Too short for me to be. Let's see. The bug ships are um like 1.2, 1.5 billion per. Yeah, H2. I picked up a Husnock a few weeks ago. Such a great ship. It's just this is set up as a complete class cannon. You look at me the wrong way and I'm gonna die. such a fun build to fly with these traits. And it gets a bit of hate from some people. Some people really hate what this rapid fire stuff does in ISA. The consoles. They're asking all these personal questions, H2O. Very concerning. I went over already, so I'll just hover over. Already probably know what those are. So. What about the recon ship? As I was saying before, I've seen almost no difference with what mods I run. Crit D, 3 pen, 3 pen, damage 4, D4. So when this remod or re-engineering system comes out where you can change mods on stuff, just go for whatever helps your immersion the most, like whatever color you like the most. It really matters. Let me get to back to Earth and I'll tell you that. Cannon rapid fire Iconian. Cannon rapid fire builds now hold the top spots on Hive Space Fleet by a large margin. So my crit chance, just the base crit chance, is 33.5. Then with skills, I have 4% there. Hold on. Crit chance. I have about 6% from skills. So that means my weapons are right around 39.5% crit chance base before we get into alpha, ACK overflow, and all that fancy. I'm not too concerned about like changing deflectors, warp cores, and most of that right now. The priority for me is going to be changing the epic mods, which for those that missed it at the start of the stream, they pushed out a patch on Friday. It appears that removed the ability for you to get like crit D2 as the epic mod, meaning that for the epic mod for weapons, we're all going to be wanting to get crit D damage. That'll be the thing to go for. So let's go into something stuff. Checking my phone. Here is actually someone said crystalline. Yeah, but if anyone has any questions, just ask away. I'm doing this as a live stream instead of just talking about it for 20 minutes. I have a link to my rapid fire build on the Simi. It's in the description here. Under this stream, it should be. I'll post it here. Not showing. That's the build post I put out for my rapid fire scimitar a month or so back. Now, with this CCA here, you're gonna see that it'll do a nice bit, but it's not gonna do as much as other builds because it's energy weapons. Energy weapons versus the entity don't actually do too well. Especially if I'm only focusing on the entity and not any of the trash mobs that people go after to get their DPS. Well, it's um Leo King. I am running on a 3440 by 1440p monitor. Oh, that's why it's a 21 by 9 resolution. Peter, these rapid fire builds are what you see most PvP escorts at the high end running, so they can usually take out a tank pretty well. This specifically is a PvE thing though, so this specific build would just be torn apart by anyone looking at it, because it is a complete glass cannon. But you see the Miradorn and other things go in. See Omega and PvP doing something similar. What lag? Coming in there doing side stuff. That had someone in there doing the actual exotic than the on the entities, though. I nuked that fast. I can change it over to 1080. Mess up the stream now with 2 different resolutions. It's set to 3440 by 1440, and then it's downscaled to 2560 by 1080. Streaming at megabytes up. Yes, Connor, there is a Discovery lockbox, and they'll be releasing the stats for the ships tomorrow. Hopefully, they actually show us the full stats on the consoles. Like to do much. I don't know. Okay, so someone was saying something earlier about doing this on the 5 forward. Let's move to something else. Not 5 forward. I'm gonna just show the capability of rapid fire on other ships by bringing this in on a Jem'Hadar Dreadnought. Fire setup. Yeah, H2O. The Miradorn console is very good. For my immersion, I'll run the Alachi. Mix it up. Polish spirit. All the colors. Hello, Leslie. Connor, I have watched all of Discovery, so thank you. I put a lot of thought into the. I'll take this into Kittimer here in 30 seconds. I'm just running the same thing. So for this ship specifically, I don't want to run directed energy flux because I have access to directed energy modulation, which cannot keep it up on time. So what I'm going to do is just to demonstrate that Supremacy will give me power buffs, I will run Supremacy with Rapid Fire, and the Supremacy will be triggered by the fire at will. So if anyone wants to join, it's just the Kittimer public queue. H2O, one of the things too, Mirrodorn console gives you a crit chance buff and crit severity, and it gives you a massive buff to your flanking damage via the Raider flanking and intel, so it is very, very good to use. I don't have this ship. I've had this ship for the last 6 or something months. It's just been sitting in my ship roster. Elstife, I'm definitely mispronouncing your name, but it's Cannon Rapid Fire, is what CRF is. It just requires some traits that are very expensive. I'm not using any major buffs on this cube. I'm gonna go to this transformer and pop it. Try to at least. Do I not have enough damage with this boat? Nope. Someone's popped the generators. Yeah, this isn't doing as much damage as the other ones, but it's just showing you can still do rapid fire on these boats. And it's just funny seeing how much you just go in on a target like that and it just devastates it. That's not worth using Tackle on now. I mean, I know I'm gate doping and stuff and transformer doping, but that's still 200k. If I were in a ship with 5 forward weapons, that would have killed the generator or the transformer while the generators were still up, but this just doesn't have the same punch. This is Kittimer Advanced, the highest difficulty. Kittimer in. Ah, crap, there's Loose Sphere. EPS. Just look how fast that tears through Denatra. I mean, yeah, there's Transformer doping there, but still, that ended 155k. A Pug Kittimer. Take a look at the parse for that, though. Yep. Those Gemdar pets are nasty. Yeah, 5 to 6k per great pet. Rest of it. Or you can see the crit chance here above 50 weapons. Crit rate gets lowered by pets. 871 attacks, 8 crit chance. Let's look at the actual stats to see crit chance. 52, not bad. Max one hit, 3k. Starbase 234. The parser, the program I'm using to show the stuff, that is STO Combat Meter, SCM. It's the parser for the DPS number channels. Five. And if we eventually do a DPS simulation, into DPS simulation. So for this build, the similar consoles, I do have a turn console on with EPS just to help with the turn rate. I only have the 2-piece Gemidar set on. The console off the strike ship because it does give crit chance and severity. And then the console off of the heavy escort carrier because the maneuver craft me some. I'm probably too far away from my mic at points. That's probably the issue. I'll try to stay a bit closer. Yeah, but if anyone has any questions at all, I'm slowly flying towards this place. Terrible. Hero, how can you let that stand? So I had 80 something keys ready to open this next lockbox on Tuesday on holodeck, and I went through and gambled them all away. Infinity boxes last night. That was a terrible decision. No zero. Terrible idea. If any of these things have feedback pulse, they're gonna kill me instantly. Yeah, H2O, the sensor console, that weapon sensor enhancer, that is upwards of 4 to 5% crit chance and like 16 to 20 crit severity. I'll buff up a little for these. Please tell me this starbase doesn't have feedback. Torp spread. Everywhere I go, torpedoes have to hurt my immersion. What happens? Glass cannon. Glass cannon versus torp spread. Don't tell Odin Knight though. I'll have to give this a go with an app like my higher end rapid fire build though. Or the scimitar. Oh, we traded. I'll take it. I don't know. That felt a bit slow. That could have been. This is not the optimal ship for it. This is just showing that you don't have to be on a 5 forward weapon ship to be rapid fire. Anyone got any other? Want to see rapid fire on? The Romulan run. Projects. Eight turret PvP build. I mean, you can do all turrets, but I like my EHCs. And the PvP build I'm running right now is on my science, and that is doing no damage. That is completely. With emergency powered weapons, that's usually enough for me. But emergency powered weapons, yeah, I do have supremacy on this right now. But even without that, I was running even a Romulan ship without this. The Husnock is really the best choice for this though. Husnock can mirror a console set, and the Husnock specifically can do the directed energy modulation. I don't have OSS on this. Name that the ship has bad bridge officer like Keldon. Took it into ISA though with the fall stuff and got a decent amount from it. Ship had more power. Lance console on any. That would really. Yeah, the Husnock has very, very good layout and H2O. There is the Miradorn console. Hovering over it now. 15% crit chance for 20 seconds, 33 severity. Then there's the Raider and Intel flanking. It's just very nice. Very nice for going in and melting. Zero, just go in and pick up some cheap epic weapons and change the mods on them when the system goes live on Tuesday. Epic weapons are the ideal. I just really, really wish that Jemadar bug ship trait was count-wide unlocked. I am actively not investing in some characters and buying some ships because of a single trait that I don't want to pay 1.5 billion EC per uh, for each character. Back to the Husnock. So what I'd love to do is there's actually some other ships that are really good for these rapid fire builds. Tenor has the top HSC parse right now, and that is in the Vengeance with rapid fire. Because it has a low level temporal seat, so he can do the entropic redistribution to spam the Husnock trait. And you can still do like rapid fire 2 or scatter volley 2. I'm doing scatter volley 2 on this because I can't run the rapid fire trait. To upgrade this turret. 13%. Upgrades. %. Oh, it ain't gonna go. And all 7 of my free Phoenix upgrades I got last week. Yeah, the Vengeance is really good for this. As I was saying, it's like the Scimitar. Really, anything with 5 forward weapons and that has a commander attack is just amazing with this. This obviously doesn't have the commander attack, but you can still make it do some pretty crazy stuff because it's got the OSS 3. And then you can do like an entropic redistribution 1 there. I can't use the rapid fire trait on this one, Peter, because I don't have a 1.5 billion EC to go buy me another Jemadar attack ship. I'm really curious to see how these new Discovery lockbox weapons look visually. Yeah, and in this case, yeah, there is the cheapest bug ship, 1.4 billion. One on the those traits really need to be account wide or give us some way to be made account wide. Well, the issue with that ret set is you're still stuck at the global cooldown for rapid fire, so you at most only have 10 seconds out of every 15. Yeah, Dragon, I know. Just wait until we viral engine overload nerfed. PV cheese. Be really nice. Wrap would sell. Ready for the salvage event, by the way. What's nice is Zero. If you have any trash weapons, like anything, you want to buy epic weapons. Any epic weapons, you buy them that are really cheap because you'll be able to change the mods on them so easily. Like all of these, like I've got this. I'll be able to change this over to crit D 3 pen or damage 3 pen, easy. So nice. Nothing sold here though. That really hurts my shit. On here at New Realm, I'm gonna check to see if cheap weapons up on the exchange. Still not a fan of these Krieger waves. By the way, I will be doing a stream on Tuesday for the Discovery Lockbox. Um, I will have to copy over 1,000 keys to Tribble to open the 1,000 that I normally do. Um, zero, I leave multiple times a week. Curious about these Discovery weapons, how much the skill buff is per weapon. Because these weapons, I guess their unique thing is they give a stat buff instead of a proc, which they are going to be pretty nice. Potentially. I don't know what else to do. Go shoot stuff. Grapple cell. Yeah, Connor. So I'll probably have like 100 keys or something. Then I'll copy it over 10 times over to Tribble, so I can just pop open 1,000 at a time over there. I think 1,000 keys would be enough. Everything's still set up here. Yep. Hittimer is just such a fun one, but can hop into something else too. Yes, Zero. That is exactly what I. Cannons fire faster, yes. They work a bit different. Um, with rapid fire, it speeds up how fast they fire. Yeah, 50% more shots per second while actively firing for 10 seconds, which then gets extended to 15 seconds for 100% uptime with the trait. Connor, you can copy keys over to Tribble, or you just copy your character over to Tribble and it copies over whatever you have on the character. You can do that via the ARC website. They have a section explaining it on the Tribble forums. So I guess when this is up, I'll just go into a. What should I go in? Glad to help. Nor and you and your damn vengeance on that HSC table. Making me really want that go for the kill trait on my vengeance character. Okay, I say affected. On ground because you beam into infected faster if you start from ground. No. I will die several times here because I am not set up for this. YouTube is complaining to me about the resolution stream is at. So if I die, it's because I have no healing. Bad. That for his rapid fire cheat. Both in here. Gate. This thing gonna pop. Time now. Here we go. So, I was briefly talking about this earlier, but a lot of the reason you get some hate for flying these builds in infected is because you're leaving your team to take care of a lot of the AoE spam. So you have to fly in a way that helps your team in most cases. So go after some of the smaller targets. It may not be beneficial to you, but it helps your team. Oh. Now over at the side, you can be a dick and just blow the side. There's a side there. Like you skip them spheres, take care of them later. Just make sure to get the ones above the transformers. Those are what really matter that you take care of them. This is not a good run. You do not have enough team DPS to get a good run with this. So for an optimal rapid fire run, you want to have someone in here with fire at will that can take out the stuff fast. Why is it folks forcing the cube? Clicking on the transformer in this generator and it's not letting me shoot him. Forcibly locking him. Care about the cube. Blow up the transformer. buffs for the center. Oh, this is a really bad run. 80k. Really bad run. Recursive hit of 730k. But I want to note though, look at how much just shooting at those big targets, how much that's spiked up the DPS with. So I was at 80k there because it was just really slow and I had to clear out the trash mobs. And that just spiked it up for when I shot at the gate and the tack cube. Even just the tack cube, even though it's got those shields, it shot me from 80 something K up to 120. So we see this in Hive Space Elite also, where DPS may drop and then you get to shoot at some of the meteor targets, we'll say, and you just spike up with these builds. It's absurd. Do so much. I'm gonna take a look at that. Pull it up for you. That run. But look at the crit chance there. 57, 60. First max one hit of 700k. Recursive, if you're not going to have a good hit with recursive, then there's no reason. So recursive, I'm still on the fence about it. Can do those nice max ones, but the question of if you can actually take advantage of it. Hugo, I've actually been asked that a little bit already. Not in this stream, but before this, just by some people. There's some people that feel that cannon rapid fire is now too overpowered and it's going to get nerfed. I see rapid fire as working as intended, not from a joking perspective, but just from the fact that it is a single target focus ability that is designed to be the thing that is supposed to melt enemies. H2O, I only have the Husnock on my Romulan. I just see this as working as intended. Hugo. Zero, the space set people are using, a lot of people are using this competitive 3-piece right now because the engine is really good and the 3-piece gives you resistance, but you can use whatever core and shield you want alongside the competitive engine and then the colony deflector. When you go to get the colony deflector, it's the 4th on the list, the one that has the weapon specialization and shield pen buff. DPS. It's just so hard to say because this is exactly how it's designed. It is, out of anything that should be doing DPS, this is what should be doing this level of DPS. Yes, that is true, H2O. This is just the best route for raw DPS with energy weapons. It's expensive because you have to have 2 traits that total around 1.7 billion EC at a minimum to make this really, really good, but yeah. Up to something else. because I've run the Husnock a lot recently. Something different. Yeah, and then E-Warp Core. Scimitar's already massively. Well, Saliknar, the issue is that these builds, they're right where they should be for like elite content. You take these into elite, they're not overpowered. It's just they're good. They're really, really good. Because instead of doing 200k DPS to several targets with AoE abilities, you're doing 200k to a single target, which is really, really good for elite queues. The best way to take something to epic, use an Omega upgrade on a Mark II. If you're going trying to get a weapon to epic. But if you're stuck at something at Mark 14, the way I take things to epic is by throwing Phoenix upgrades at them, which we should have another Phoenix event here soon. Didn't they do one during the last anniversary event? Someone tell me a ship to run on that can run cannon. Mark 12, Mark 14. Those are the costly ones. That's where I just toss Phoenix upgrades like mad. With research boost, tech boost. I'll use research boost to get them up to like 10%, and then tech boost after that. Yeah, but they did a Phoenix event last year during the anniversary, if I recall. Danaeus, what is that? Yes, they removed the Epic Crit Heat 2 mod. Omega upgrades are nice, but I don't know. I haven't used them in large quantities anytime recently. I just find the Phoenix upgrades to be easier to obtain. Mega upgrades are 1.5 million EC per versus the Phoenix that just buy so easily. Danaeus, I gotta remember that is. Okay, so I don't have that ship, but it should work on that. 4-3. You would just the thing is with these rapid fire builds, you need to have the go for the kill trait. That is the you had only one trait you have to have. It's that. Then after that, I would say preferential targeting should be another core trait because you could easily run that on most things. It's this third one, directed energy flux. That's huge, but can't really run it on most ships because the lack of temporal bridge officer seats. Yeah, the Danaeus, they should be able to. I'm looking at it. 4-3. It's a similar bridge officer layout to the Scimitar. But let's try to go to Kittimer and Nuka transform proper setup. do this, I'll just quickly invite this guy to. Yeah, I was just looking at it on the wiki. Projects over here doing terrible. Why did someone slot this? Blame Omega. Normal dual cannons are worth it. In fact, the Reddit RSTO builds people were saying that the dual cannons should actually have a higher DPS potential if you're using Chemosite, because they can proc Chemosite more. Because Chemosite is a per shot proc. So just to show like how much of a difference there is, I'll do have him. Oh, never mind. I don't actually have them in my inventory anymore. Must be in my account bank. I was gonna put a dual cannon on. Does anyone have any more cannon questions? Rapid fire build. I do have some videos linked in the description of the stream, or they should be there. Solo ISA with the rapid fire scimitar, the 215k DPS run I did, and the scimitar build I posted for rapid fire last month. And this Husnock build I'll either have posted later today or sometime tomorrow on STO build. But if anyone does have any more questions, I'll only be on for another 20 or so minutes, 25. Top of the hour, I'll be ending the stream. I got some stuff to do for my networking classes. I got to do all these nice little simulations on the online portions. I get to go have fun with the Java 2 class. Why did I take that? I'll never know. I mean, acceptable. I mean, if you're in advanced, anything over 10k is enough. Aw, NVAC. Stream sniper. Look at that. All 4 generators up. Cube. There's the probes. Will we kill this before the probes can get there? No. Like, it's so overkill for these probes. Look at that. Talk about overkill. I buffed a bit too early. Yeah, Cannon Master Race going on here. $928K recursive on that. So for an exotic size ship, you're going to be using sets. They got too close to it. Still, how many years later, and you still have people get within 5 kilometers of that and cause it to cloak? As I get within 5 kilometers of it. Look at that. Goodbye. And Vex, one of my fleet mates. I'm gonna pull up one of my exotic builds, agent, and show you what I've got on it. I haven't messed with the secondary deflectors at the colony. I can't tell you. Do you want me to try here? The cure will take like a minute, then I'll pop over and show you that exotic build agent. Here's extreme. The issue is all the small mobs to take care of. So the issue with Kier, we're in the queue. It needs 2 more if you want to join it. But the issue with Kier is it is extremely easy The cubes have very little HP. The entire map has very little HP in total. I never posted the video for it, but I remember doing a solo with it with an exotic build. Get a pop. Low brain. I'm only streaming for another 20 or so minutes, but it's going well. Yeah, this one's a bit of a joke. Nothing. Easy. Borg didn't even know what they had coming towards him. Look at that. So, something I didn't mention also is if you're looking for what damage type to go after with these, Disruptor's going to be the best due to the sets, but your second best option is actually phasers. That was actually a well run because lack of AoE. Where's Sparta weapons up? So that is Cure Space Elite. Yeah, people like the pulse phasers, and the new discovery phasers have similar visuals from what I saw, so we'll go nuts for those also. Um, Agent XX302, this is the exotic build I run. This is what I've been using for CCA, and in CCA, I can pull it up. It is got the third spot on the CCA table. So I'm using the gravimetric torp. Could do the PEP or the advanced biomold. I just like the gravimetric because the gravity wells it does, and that does nice DPS with the EPG. Then I've got that with the two-piece with the Dyson proton weapon, the two-piece advanced Thoron infused with the neutronic because that gives a radiation buff. Then I've got the chronometric beam, chronometric 360 beam, the chronometric console because that's a three-piece. Yeah, the eyeball ship is one of the best exotic size ships you can get right now for DPS. It's just so good. Yeah, the pep is nice, but because of how CCA runs work with this gravimetric photon, your run time in an ideal CCA is like right around 10 to 15 seconds. And people cut out anything around that. So people cut out in CCA as much as they can from the start, and anything after the entity is dead at the end. That's how the CCA table works. Unfortunately, it's people exploiting um, the how that table works, the requirements, what the parser has, cutting out as much as possible before the parser denies the upload. That's how the CCA table works. Yeah, it's just all the sets. That's everywhere. Got this stream for me. Can't see where I am with that delay. Looking. Just thinking what else can do here. I mean, I think I pretty much went over most of the stuff. There's some videos I want to push out eventually, also just showing some of these builds in action, but gotta sift through a bunch of videos. And just energy weapons being bad in. So I guess let's close this out with me doing a CCA with an exotic boat. Because exotics are hard, I read. Where I get a bunch of hate from exotic users. The eyeball in, eyeball the count. This is I don't do these often. So I gotta remember where all the stuff is. This list to scroll through. Um, Hugo, for most of the rapid fire stuff, you can get most builds can do just preferential targeting and go for the kill. You need 5 tactical bridge officer slots to make that work. You you really really need this go for the kill trait to make the rapid fire builds work, Aponte. And that's this is what's holding me back from doing this build on my Fed tack, my KDF tack, and some of my other characters because I'm not paying 1.5 billion EC for one trait. The go for the kill trait is at the bare minimum the absolute essential for this build to work. Followed by the preferential targeting, which isn't a must, but it's a very good thing to have on for the damage buff. And then if you have a ship that has temporal seeding, directed energy flux. Like I know you were doing the Miradorn, but if you swap over to the Husnock, bring the Miradorn console over, that's a very, very good combination. Especially you can use recursive if you want. If you're running with a really good team, it can do some stupid stuff in HSE. You were seeing 1.3, 1.4 million hits like the old days. Back out here. Particle manipulator. This isn't going to be optimal, but okay. So what do your projectile? Going to be a I gotta remember my traits. I'm scrolling past it. The bug ship will not hit the infinity box, not the lock box, because it's a promo ship. I feel like I'm blind right. I wish this stuff was in alphabetical order. That loadouts were great. Got this armor penetrate somewhere. Got it. Okay. Going. I would be willing to pay low buy to make these things account wide. 500 low buy to make a promo ship account wide. Yeah, that's 500 million EC. Even just the trade, I'd pay. Be a very bad CCA. Yeah, Breen, I imagine that would go very well. So at the end of this, I'm going to show you all what we mean by log trimming in CCA. It's not manipulation; it's trimming. Aponte, I only have the strike ship. We tested the ghosting thing over on Tribble a long time ago and didn't notice it. And even if it is for go for the kill, it doesn't make much of a difference because it's just so easy to have that uptime. You just need to have it proc twice, so 2 crits, and that's easy. Adron. Stuff is too far away from the entity. Uh, that's that. The ships are still powered by Snipey's team. I can confirm that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do at the to close out the stream here is I'm going. A lot of you will have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about here, but let me just. Get the. Okay. So, first thing first, with the CCA parse. When we're talking about trimming, to get everything after the entity is dead and remove it from the parse. I'll move closer to the mic. So everything with the CCA trimming with the parse, I'm using Notepad++. I want to find the kill line for the entity. So we're just a bit more. It can take a bit to sift through with all the trash in there. Wait, I've already went past. Orb Weaver. Died at. All of this gets removed. Just doing that. That's still uploadable. Okay. I'm trying to move closer to the mic. Hopefully this works. So with this CCA stuff, basically, the first thing is you cut out everything at the end after the entity is dead. So the entity died right around here, right here. Oh, wait, line, this line right here. You see the kill line right there at the end of it. So everything after that second's gone. So that's the first part of a CCA parse. Now, if I go and look at the damage chart, you see there's nothing happening in these first few seconds. So I'm gonna go back to this. It's at 41. I'm gonna clear out at the end. Okay, so 17. Let's clear out everything up to 23. Good. Still uploadable. but we can keep going. We cut out second by second. This is the unfortunate thing of how the CCA table works. Trimming. So you get that message. Once you get that message, that means you need to back up because you've trimmed too far. But let me but you see this this parse is 18 seconds. Okay. It's when I started attacking to the end, basically. And if we go back and compare that, 18 seconds versus the fight actually being Jura CRF is cannon rapid fire. 18 seconds versus 35. It's still breaking up? Okay. Has it been like this the entire time, or is it just now doing it? Should be this noise gate filter that's causing the issue. But that's, what I just showed there was just trimming a CCA file. Taking it from 36 seconds down to 18. Now on, record run, say, like this here, there's no way it runs actually 14 seconds. Okay, it should be better now, but you're going to pick up some of the background. I just removed the noise gate filter. Just to show that off again, I'm going to pull a random recent parse off the CCA table. Whose am I going to pull? Anything recent at the high end? That's Odin's already been trimmed. Ponte. All these really short times are trimmed. Rev, yes, yes. I know Rev will love this. So I'm going to take this parse and just show what happens just trimming it. It's going to disappear for a minute though. Okay, so we start at 236k. The goal is to cut out everything that is early in and everything after the entity dies. Just gotta find the crystalline kill line. Here we have it. Just see how this goes. So that helps some of the other people so far. This is damage to the thing early in. That might screw this up. Yep. So you get small incremental increase. Gotta keep cropping out and see how much you can take out of the record. So just going second by second now. This is a weird parse to do because it's a little bit different damage distribution. $29, so find. I should just do a video just explaining this entire thing because there's so many people at the high end doing it in some form or another that people just don't know about it. Actually lowered, okay. But, I mean, that wasn't the best example ever, but that took a 236k up to 250k, just trimming out stuff. And it still was a legal upload to the parser because most of this damage is to trash mobs and not to the entity, which is what the parser registers. So I don't know, I'm probably not making much sense to most people with this, but yeah. So, any final questions from anyone before I call it here? Give it a minute with that stream delay. Need to swap out of this size ship. Thank you, Zero. That's very inspirational. No, I'm not going to bed. I'm gonna go work on a lot of fun school stuff. I'll figure out what ship I'm gonna swap back to. Okay, well, this video will take a little bit to process afterwards for the stream because it's 2 hours, so it'll pop up again as a video in a few hours most likely. I think it's set to be private by default, so I'll go in and change that. But anyhow, yeah, if anyone has any questions or anything, just let me know in the comments of it. And yeah, I know this was a little bit all over the place and not exactly well structured, but oh well. See y'all around.